Good afternoon. That's loud. So before we get started, are there any members of the class of 2000 who haven't received some champagne? Just raise your hand. Okay. All right. Looks like we're covered. Okay. Okay. So it's my privilege to welcome you home for Alumni Weekend. And before I begin the State of the University address, I want to acknowledge the food service staff who prepared the meal we just enjoyed. The Saturday brunch at Alumni Weekend has become a time to celebrate our 25th anniversary class. And this year, we recognize the class of 2000 on their silver reunion. I'd like to take a moment and offer a toast. Please join me in raising a glass, and if you don't have champagne, anything else will do, except water. I think that's bad luck. So, okay. To the class of 2000. I'm Irish, so yeah, toasting with water is bad luck. Yeah. 25 years after graduating from Seton Hill, your friendships and your connections to the alma mater endure. Here's to an amazing group of Setonians who continue to make their mark on the world and all that's still to come. Cheers. I'm sure each member of the class of 2000 and all of our reunion classes here today have a story about how you've come to attend Seton Hill. I guess most of your stories have something to do with driving up the hill and just feeling like this is home. But our origin stories all start further back. The families we come from, the experiences we've had. Mine has a great deal to do with my mother, who I just spent 10 days with in Ireland. Her mother came from Ireland at the age of 19. So we were back there visiting family, and this will probably be my mother's last trip internationally, because don't tell her I told you this, but she's almost 90. So when you see her, if you meet her, tell her she looks like she's 70. She'll appreciate that. I'm in higher education, so I've met some very smart, accomplished people. People who are inventors, prominent scholars, thought leaders, but the smartest person I've ever met is my mother, and her name is Jean Finger. She was at the top of her high school class and earned a scholarship to college that she would never use and never even tell her parents she received. Her father was a streetcar driver. Her mother was an Irish immigrant. Her father had fallen ill, and they were in Chicago, and the only option at that time that the doctors gave was that they should move the family to Florida for better weather. So my mom left her dreams of becoming a doctor behind, moved to Florida, and helped support the family. And that's what we do. That's what we do as women. That's what we do as human beings. We take on responsibility and often put our own dreams behind us. She eventually married my dad, and who also only had a high school diploma. And together they built a life and a family. And Mom always worked outside the house, mostly so that my siblings and I could have the benefit of Catholic education. But her passion for education and her respect for the intellectual life was passed on to me early on. And I have that privilege of being able, as Seton Hill's president, to help students achieve their dream, no matter their economic circumstances. My parents' experiences in some way reflect the reality of our students and prospective students today. Still, 40% of our students are the first in their families to come to college, and 33% of our students are students who come from under-resourced environments and who are on Pell recipients. Too many of our prospective students have their dreams truncated because of financial limitations and or or family responsibilities. But despite the media that questions the need for a college education, the reality is that, unlike my father's experience, who was able to create a very strong financial circumstances for us in middle class, that's not the case anymore. The pathway to the middle class without a four-year degree or without some education is severely limited. More than 100 years ago, the Sisters of Charity established Seton Hill College to make sure that students both achieved their dreams and found a path forward to economic stability. And it remains an extraordinary privilege for me to advance Seton Hill's mission. That's one of our future Setonians over there. Of educating students in the best tradition of the Sisters of Charity. And just a few weeks ago, we graduated our 107th graduating class with more than 400 students who received bachelor, master's, or doctoral degree. Overall, we educate about 2,000 students each year. Additionally, about 3,000 students are part of our college and the high school program, a program that's grown significantly over the past several years. Right now, students participate in program across 46 public schools and 18 Catholic schools, including schools in the Archdiocese of Los Angeles. We learned a few years ago, when we took a look at how many students were graduating at mid-year, that we did a little research and found out that 20% of our students are coming with 12 or more credits. And so the way Seton Hill always does, Sister Susan Yakum, who's our provost, and the faculty got together and said, how do we make sure that students can come here with, if they have a minimum of 12 credits, and graduate in 3 years without going to summer school? So we now have lots of lots of 3-year programs, about 20, and we're creating more every year. So that mitigates cost and certainly provides opportunity for students to be in the workforce faster if they so choose. So that's one of the ways that we are looking at accessibility and looking at financial viability. We're also reaching out to adult learners. For the second year in a row, Seton Hill received a Parent Pathways grant from the Pennsylvania Department of Education that allows us to provide additional financial aid for new students who are parents of dependent children. Students receive the scholarship and eligible for special academic advising and support services tailored just for students with children. The program opens up new possibilities to adult learners who want to obtain a degree. But no matter their major, Seton Hill students benefit from programs of study that combine the liberal arts and professional education, as in the tradition of the Sisters of Charity of Seton Hill. And we focus on programs with real-world impact, those in-demand professions that are looking at hiring for the long term and are of interest to students. Almost a decade ago, we created the Office of Academic Innovation and Planning that continually scans the marketplace, brings together external experts and internal experts, our faculty, to think about what's next. And so we've been proactive rather than reactive. We've created 40 new degrees and certificates for undergraduate, graduate, and doctoral levels. And among those offerings is our first doctoral program, which is the Doctorate of Physical Therapy, which it has been a wonderful outreach to the Greensburg community. And our students are regulars at Caritas Christi, working with the Sisters of Charity and residents there on their physical therapy needs. They've also organized programs in the community and have done a number of outreach programs internationally to Mexico, Peru, and Jamaica. And they've also developed a street medicine program in Greensburg, helping people who are unhoused in the community. We're in the process of launching a second doctoral program, the Doctorate of Occupational Therapy, and that will be in place in fall 2026. Lots of pre-work with all of these healthcare initiatives requiring certification ahead of time. So we have a director for that program and have had a director for a year. We've got a clinical site coordinator. We're looking at facilities. So it's quite exciting. The whole thing's quite exciting. So our Bachelor of Science in Nursing and our RN to BSN programs continue to thrive. And we're really between those programs, Exercise Science, which is a precursor to OT and PT, and our PA program, we are developing a health care footprint that is very significant. And I'll announce it here that we are changing our School of Natural and Health Sciences to the School of Health Science and Natural Science. We're not quite sure of terminology yet, but we're hiring an associate dean who will oversee all of our health science programs. And so this is a major footprint for Seton Hill in the future. And, I mean, any of you who live in the area, you cannot go to a doctor's office without having a Seton Hill graduate there, which is always wonderful. And then I love to hear the doctors say how wonderful they are. So that's great. Not to mention our participation with the LECOM, which is the Lake Erie College of Osteopathic Medicine, which allows our students on campus here, allows our students to come in and as a freshman, make a determination about medical school. And we have about 120 students in that program, either pathway for medical school, pharmacy, or dental school. So, some of the things that I get to do is just really brag. And I'm going to tell you a few of our accolades lately. We are again named among the best regional universities in the North by U.S. News and World Report. We're ranked 49th among regional universities in the North, 24th in the best value category, and 38th among best colleges for veterans. We just received word that we recognize as a 2025-26 College of Distinction. That's a prestigious honor that we've received in the past. And our student athletes are pretty phenomenal young people. We consistently are at either the top or the second in our conference in terms of GPA. But we were named this year by the NCAA as one of 43 Division II schools out of more than 300 to earn the President's Award for Academic Excellence. And we were the only one from our conference, which is Pennsylvania State Athletic Conference, to achieve this award. Yeah. We continue to have major impact on the Greensburg community in southwestern Pennsylvania. We contribute about $117 million annually to the economic vitality of the state. And we received 2 years ago a grant from Pittsburgh Foundation, the R.K. Mellon Foundation, to look at how, as an anchor institutions, we can continue to enhance the viability of this area. We continue, that report will be out very soon. We'll make sure that everyone on our alumni get a chance to understand that, to read it and understand it. But we are partnering with all community organizations to make sure that Greensburg continues to be a viable and exciting place. It's in everyone's best interest, our best interest, as well as the community, for Greensburg to thrive. All of this important work reflects in a powerful way the efforts of the Sisters of Charity of Seton Hill and all that they've done to foster their own ministries, Seton Hill being such a critical part of their ministries. And it's really a privilege for me, it's a tremendous privilege to continue to carry forth that legacy. Last fall, we celebrated the 250th anniversary of the birth of St. Elizabeth Ann Seton. And this year, we're going to recognize the 50th anniversary of her canonization as the first American-born saint. And just a little note, Pope Leo's birthday is the same day of the canonization. And no, I'm from Chicago. I'm the only one in Chicago who has not met him, because everyone's sitting here. We're planning a special joint celebration with the Sisters of Charity at Seton Hill, including a mass celebrated by Bishop Larry Kulik and a reception on September 9th at Caritas Christi. We're going to live stream the mass, and so we look forward to sharing more details this summer. We'll keep you informed. We had our second Founders Day on March 19th with activities that honored the Sisters of Charity and especially their work to help the poor. And all that we're doing builds on the secure foundations established by our founders and their successors. But we recognize that the number of sisters on faculty, staff, and administration has decreased significantly in recent years. So we're working on ways and have worked on ways to make sure that the charism of Elizabeth Ann Seton and the sisters remain a vital part of our education. And I want to recognize today two people who are here who've had just done extraordinary work in this way. And that is Sister Vivian Linkauer and Sister Maureen O'Brien. Sister Vivian is our former VP for Mission and Identity, and Sister Maureen is our current VP for Mission and Identity, and have developed under both of their authorities have developed our Setonian Mission Formation Program, which is really a program that educates our non-religious faculty and staff about how to continue and move forth the charism of the sisters through the eyes of Catholic intellectual tradition and Catholic social teaching. We also have, through this endeavor, a Setonian Mission Scholars Program that provides scholarship support for student leaders and helps them explore the charism of the sisters with their peers, and then really be advocates among their peers for that. And you'll read in the foreword about that, which is coming out. They're just extraordinary young people, and they really get it. And we want to make sure that people continue to get it for as long as this institution is around, for the next few hundred years. Thank you again to the class of 1975 for your extraordinary gift, and to everyone else who has made a contribution to this, your reunion giving. Many of you have given to scholarship. It remains an incredibly important endeavor for our students. 99% of our students receive some kind of support. As I said, a third of our students are from under-resourced families, so we work hard to make sure that students can come here despite, in spite of economic challenges. So we're in a quiet phase of a capital campaign. What institution is not in a campaign, either quiet or public? And it's called Framing the Future, and it has a number of key areas, including student scholarship, which is almost half of, it's a $100 million goal. We expect to go beyond that, but $45 million of that goal is allocated towards student success through scholarships and academic support. Mission and identity is a key part of that, and we've received some very significant funding to continue mission and identity here at Seton Hill. Community impact, as I mentioned earlier, we are part of this community and will continue to be, and that integration is very important. And then innovation. This is an institution that has, from its founding, been innovative. I mean, the sisters they saw a problem and they addressed it very quietly, very humbly, but always very effectively. And so innovation is a critical part of this campaign, either through facilities or new academic program development. So there are two facilities that are on the docket. We're going to renovate Sullivan Hall because it is iconic and lovely and not very functional. So as you all know, it was our original field house. And so we are going to move all the sports that are in there out and build a field house that's a real field house where we don't have to watch baseballs flying through the windows of this 100-year-old building, and provide a field house for, at this point, a third of our students are athletes. So yeah, and they're very talented. And so we're going to be developing a field house, and then we're going to renovate Sullivan Hall, and it will be 2 floors of health science, 1 floor of business, and a campus center, which we don't really have at this point. This space has been our campus center for a while. So those are the 2 buildings that we are working on. And business, of course, has now been integrated with technology. So it'll be business and technology as well as health science. So a few people have asked this weekend what's been the impact on all the changes coming out of Washington for us as an institution. We don't yet know the answer to that, but there are a few things on the docket. We don't have a huge amount of federal support, but that other than through Pell Grants. But we have, we do know that we had a $750 million grant for scholarship for students in STEM who were from under-resourced environments. And at that point, that seems to be in abeyance. So we will have to find resources to cover those students because they're here now, and we want them to graduate. TRIO, which is a 50-year-old program that has supported students also with some risk factors. And the result of that has been unbelievably successful. The students in that program end up graduating at or above the level of students without any risk factors. That's on the docket to be eliminated. Pell, there's a lot of conversation about Pell that will have what is currently in the reconciliation bill will have a negative impact, particularly on our adult and part-time students. So there's a lot going on that we don't yet know. Our national organizations are advocating for some changes in that. I think overall what we're going to see too in terms of fundraising, and we've already begun to see it, we saw it in COVID, was a shift away from particular underwriting for institutions like ours to those social service agencies that are losing funding, and we're beginning to see that. So we are in a $100 million campaign, and frankly, we're going to have to go to 110 in terms of the buildings to make sure that we fundraise enough for the buildings and don't leave a lot of pressure on the institution in terms of debt. And we're at 80 million right now. And I think we're debating about when we go public. So I think Molly would like us to go public at 99 million, but you'll start to see more information in the fall. We're going to do a soft launch for the campaign. But again, thank you to everyone who has contributed, particularly to scholarship or anything else you've contributed to, because that's been extraordinary. I'm happy to answer any questions that people might have, either now or catch me sometime through the rest of the day or today or tomorrow. But I do want to emphasize that we're in very strong financial shape. We've had 25 years of balanced budgets with no structural deficit, which means we count all of our depreciation in those budgets. And so when you start to hear about schools closing, they've had a number of years where they've balanced the budget, but they've balanced it without, they've had structural deficits. That is what that means. So we have a very strong board. Bridget Widdowson is on that board. Margaret DiVirgilia is on that board. They are constantly asking us where we're at in terms of our, of where we are in terms of the strength of the institution. So enrollment is solid. We saw some erosion after COVID, but that's been made up with the graduate programs. So I'm happy to answer any questions. If not, hazard yet forward. Have a great rest of the week. Question? Go ahead.